The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Tuesday, the first day of July 2025. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and a very new title sponsor of this as of this morning, HSBC Bermuda, for ensuring that we are able to pump through the airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these important community conversations. So happy to have HSBC Bermuda on board. And excited for the things that we'll be able to do now that we have additional exposure through Hot 107.5. I'm Jamal Hartman, and Maya Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in the news break. How's everyone feeling today? Happy first day of the second half of the year, at least as it relates to months. We have made it to the second half of the calendar year. Hopefully your first 6 months was awesome. You achieved or exceeded what you set out to achieve. And yeah, I'm excited. Oh, I must say, greetings to everyone. Even if you wear red and blue this time of year. Now that's maturity. That is maturity. See, before I would say, greetings everyone, except those who were red and blue this time of year. But I'm a changed man. So I am being inclusive. And I'm letting my team do the trash talking on the field at the end of this month. All right? I have changed, folks. I have changed. All right. Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as we welcome one of our favorite people back on. Mel Gauntlett of Freisenbruch is back for another segment of Get Insured. We're going to be discussing volatile markets today and on your retirement plans. This is important. This is important because, you know, I don't want to get into politics, but a certain president does something and the markets all of a sudden go crazy and people panic. Well, should I buy? Should I sell? What's happening to my money? I think these conversations don't happen often enough. So really looking forward to her educating and informing us on what's the best thing to do when things happen. And obviously it'll be different for different people. You know, I'm much younger than Sherry and Charles. So, you know, what happens with their funds may be very different what I should do with mine. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website. But before that, the daily players I remember when. So I don't remember what the question is today, but yeah, we'll figure it out. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All righty, let's get into today's conversation. Well, we've got Suzanne Ingham says, super awesome Tuesday. Jamel and Maya, and a super awesome Tuesday to you as well. Charles H. Jeffs II, he says, morning, it's cut match season. Put that Christmas color away until December. What Christmas color? What are you talking about? No one has Christmas colors on. Oh, maybe he's talking in general to all those people who wear that red stuff. Suzanne Ingham says, no worries, Jamel. I'm blue and blue, forever true. Indeed. You know, we have some good people that you know, tune in, and you are one of them, Suzanne. You are one of them. We appreciate that you know how to choose a team, at least for 2 days of the year. All right, let's jump into today's discussion, folks. Very important conversation. So there's some talk going on with the government, and this has been going on for years and years and years. But the headline in the Royal Gazette was basically granting Bermudian status a red line for PLP. Well, this came up during a discussion in the House of Assembly where the deputy leader of the opposition, Ben Smith, was speaking about it during the motion to adjourn and spoke that granting status of to holders of permanent resident certificates, PRCs, would help to address the island's decline in population. So here's a couple of questions this morning. What incentives should be offered to encourage Bermudians to return home? Right? What incentives should be offered? And there's so many of you who tune into this show who do not live in Bermuda, and there's so many people who are part of this show who don't live in Bermuda. So what incentives would inspire you to move back to Bermuda? But also, should PRC holders be granted status? What are your thoughts on those two questions? Should PRC holders be granted status? And I'm going to continue on the story. The Premier of Bermuda, David Burt, said that granting of Bermudian status to PRC holders would only increase the number of jobs of free from work permit controls, and it was a red line that the government was not willing to cross. He said, however, the Premier added that he would welcome discussions about PRC holders receiving Bermudian citizenship should the island go independent. Oh, I see what the Premier did there. I see what he did right there, because he knows full well Bermuda is not going independent, but I see what he did there. But what are your thoughts on that? Audience, how do you feel? Just to give context, PRC holders have been in Bermuda some 5, 10, 15, 20 plus years. These are people who have given so much to the country, not just economically, but many of them have been a part of our local clubs and organizations. Do you think they should be granted status, or are you one who says, no, they knew the rules when they came, and that those were not part of the rules? And for all the Bermudians who continue to leave, and we're not just talking about Bermudians who head to the UK, there are so many Bermudians across the world now. The continent of Africa, mainly Ghana, you've got a lot of Bermudians. You've got Bermudians over in Australia. You've got Bermudians throughout Asia now. You've got, of course, the United States and Canada. What incentives do you believe we could offer to encourage Bermudians to return home? Like, what is something that comes to mind that you say, you know what? I mean, we just had a cost of living summit, right? Is there something that came out of that you believe, you know what? This may make sense. Let's offer this. Let's put this on offer for Bermudians. This might entice them to come back and give back to their country, right? But what crosses your mind when you think incentives that could inspire Bermudians to return home? But also, don't be afraid to answer. Should PRC holders be granted status? What are your thoughts? WKD Lama says a living wage and affordable housing, and everyone will come back. Should not status, I believe, should not be or they should not be given status, but they can stay if they contribute. Okay. So you believe the incentive Bermudians need to be offered is a living wage and affordable housing, and everyone will come back, right? And then you believe that PRCs should not be given status, but they can stay if they contribute. Okay. Okay. Suzanne Ingham says affordable living would bring some people back home. I'm still not sure about the PRC holders. I need to think more on this one. Two of you so far said affordable housing, affordable living, but what does that look like? What does that look like? That's so broad, right? What does affordable look like? And I think instead of saying affordable, because that's so broad, it doesn't really tackle anything. Like, is an incentive, like when we speak about incentives, right? You've got countries that incentivize for giving a child, giving birth to a child, you may get $5,000 toward living expenses for the first 5 years or something like that. For returning home to Bermuda, other financial rewards. Well, you get payroll tax relief for a certain period of time, right? You get reduced insurance benefit. Like that's what I mean by incentives. It's hard to say a living wage and affordable housing, when it's the government involved. The government, what they can control is maybe taxes, right? The same way, think about it like how they give concessions to like Fairmont Southampton. Like, think about it like that when you're thinking about what incentives we can offer Bermudians to return. If it's Bermudians returning and they have vehicles, okay, if you're just returning to Bermuda, we'll offer you no TCD fee for the first year of your car. Like those kind of things that help them. That's what they can control. They can't really control like how much you're going to make in a private entity. They can't really control the amount that you're going to pay for groceries. What they can do is minimize taxes that you will pay into government. Does that make sense? What incentives should be offered? What are your thoughts? What do you think? Is there anything that you pay for in Bermuda right now that you say, you know what? If we eliminated this or reduced this, this may encourage more Bermudians to return home. If we got rid of that, this may encourage more Bermudians. Maybe it's sugar tax. If we eliminated sugar tax, maybe that's something as simple as that sounds or silly as that sounds. Maybe that's something that could encourage people. But what are your thoughts, audience? And also, should PRC holders be granted status? The Premier of Bermuda says basically absolutely not. That's a red line that he and his government are not willing to cross. However, he would be happy to offer citizenship should Bermuda ever become independent. And I'm pretty sure most of you agree with me when I say we don't see that happening anytime soon. Anytime soon, if at all. But what are your thoughts, audience? What other incentives? What are some things that you believe could help Bermudians return to Bermuda? We've lost, we haven't had a real true census done recently, but statistics have been offered by the chamber as far as how many people have left the island, and conversations are ongoing that's what would help reduce the cost of living more people, right? Because companies have got to make up for those lost numbers, right? That's what increases prices. They have to make up for every person lost. We also have an older economy, older population. So what are your thoughts? What do you think? What incentives do you believe would encourage Bermudians to return home? And should PRC holders be granted status? WKD Lama says, if you reduce taxes, how would they still provide needed services? Government has to collaborate with private sector to provide solutions. I didn't say reduce taxes. I was very clear. I said offer tax incentives, literally eliminate taxes for those returning. I said nothing about taxes for those who are already there. Now, that may sound unfair, but this is what happens. It's like, you have companies already in Bermuda that are not getting the incentives that maybe a Fairmont Southampton's getting. So I never, ever said, let me be very clear about reducing taxes and for services still needed. This should not impact the services that are needed if you're offering, like 1 year of no payroll tax to people who are returning to the island. I hope that makes sense, WKD Lama. And also, collaboration is important between government and the private sector, but I'm speaking to what the government has control over. That's what I'm speaking of. What they can control, it's much easier than trying to collaborate. I'm not saying they shouldn't collaborate with the private sector. I'm simply saying that the government has a better chance to actually do their part on their own to attract people back. The private sector can do that by offering jobs and opportunities should they need people. Keyword need. Paulie Rich says, I do not think there should be incentives. Agree with status for PRCs, but not informed about this topic. Unsure of Premier's remark about jobs. Once I understand that, my opinion may change. Fair enough. I appreciate that, Paulie Rich. Why don't you think they should get incentives though? We need people, right? Why wouldn't you want? In fairness, and the argument against that, millionaires and billionaires are getting incentives in Bermuda. Why not give incentives to Bermudians? Help me understand that a bit. Suzanne Ingham says we need to be able to have a wage that I can live off and support my family without having to work a bunch of jobs to just make ends meet, killing myself working. I agree. I think it's sad that people have to work multiple jobs just to make a living. I think it was former US President Joe Biden, said no, or Bernie Sanders, one of them, he said no one with a full-time job should need welfare or financial assistance. I agree. I absolutely agree with that. No one with a full-time job should need financial assistance. I absolutely agree with that. But that is determined at least in capitalist markets, that's determined by the workforce, if we're honest. If folks stopped working for that, then they'd have to use technology or improve their pay. But that's a good point. What else, audience? What incentives should be offered to encourage Bermudians to return home to Bermuda, and should PRC holders be granted status? Again, just keep it in mind that PRC holders are not just some people outside of Bermuda who want to work in Bermuda. These are people who have been in Bermuda for years. Many have contributed to the island in so many different respects, be it your community clubs, your charitable organizations. They are part of the community. They are a part of the community. Charles H. Jeffs II, he says, Jamel, as someone who lives outside of Bermuda, are there any incentives that will make you consider moving back? For me, it wasn't about the economy. It was more about helping my country and mother. So your incentive to move back was helping your country and your mother, Charles? Okay. For me, probably politics. Incentive. I may think very differently from most people, but I think one of my incentives would be a free Bermuda. I don't think we have a free Bermuda. I also love to do activities that are illegal in Bermuda. I like going to the range, I like stuff like that. But economically, Bermuda's hard to live in. It's not affordable for people like myself, right? I like to eat organic fruits, and then I like a bag of chips that don't cost $7, $8. That's just me. But the incentive for me, honestly, I think it really comes down to being able to freely and in an affordable manner for me live. I don't want to speak for others, but I'm single with no children. There are people who have children who just cannot do it, and I think that there should be incentives for them if economics is the main reason. Renee Simmons says, first, we need to focus on bringing Bermudians back. Housing is a major factor. There needs to be some way of addressing IB towards contributing towards lost Bermudians, whether it's an extra tax. All right, fair enough. All right, folks. Well, we're going to bring Maya Palacio in for Daily Hour News Break. And then don't forget, we've got Mel Gauntlett coming up from Freisenbruch. We're talking about the volatile markets, man. And I think this is going to be something that's normal over the next, how many more years? 3 years? Next 3-4 years? Because of things that just happen politically. We'll talk about what makes the markets volatile and the like, but a conversation, especially for Bermudians who are blessed or lucky to have pensions and retirement plans, to know what's going on. So looking forward to that conversation. But this was your daily discussion brought to you by our friends at Titan Express and Secure Trucking. We're going to pay some gratitude to them, and then we'll bring Maya Palacio in for the Daily Hour News Break. In the meantime, whatever platform you're streaming on, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter X, please give us a thumbs up, love, like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, colleagues. Again, we are excited and happy to welcome HSBC Bermuda on as of this morning, ensuring that they are, we get to pump the show through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5. They are our official title sponsor for the syndication of the Daily Hour on Hot 107.5.
The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Visit TitanEXBDA.com, your leading tour and transport provider specializing in Black History tours throughout the island. And SecureBDA.com for all your property management, waste management, residential, and commercial trucking needs. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is our commitment to you.
Alrighty. I just want to say this. Let me be more clear about this. Because Michael Daniel says Bermuda's a small town, does not have any influence in a decision not to live in Bermuda right now. I think I've said this loud and clear before. And those who have followed me from my time at Hot 107.5 would know this. When you've been through what I've been through with the government of Bermuda, you probably don't really want to be in Bermuda. You don't know what I experienced with conscription. You don't understand that the governor, Richard Gosney, after I was thrown in that cell that he said was not fit for a dog, you don't know what that done to me mentally and emotionally. So please do not sit back and think that I'm not in Bermuda because it's a small town. I have issues with the Bermuda government and how I've been treated by Bermuda. I try not to hold that against the entire island because I love the country and I love the people. So let me just be clear and saying this one more time. My issues with Bermuda are unique. It's not the people, it's not the island. It's the government and it's the system. Capiche? Bring my applause in for Daily Hour News Break.
Good morning. Good morning.
Greetings, MP. How are you?
Doing pretty good this morning. Always an interesting topic.
Yeah, what would your response be to that?
Ugh. I feel like I've had many answers in the past. I feel like everyone did a pretty good job of kind of pointing out the reasons. I don't even know what it would be for me personally, because I think what I like so much about being in Toronto is the fact that I meet so many amazing people in different industries that are willing to just give me chances, and see the work that I do and could actually put me on platforms that are, larger than I thought I could have. It's just the opportunity, I guess, would say is what I love about not being in Bermuda, unfortunately. But the opportunities out here have definitely influenced some people back home to see the work that I can do. So that's, the benefit, I guess.
Yeah, I think depending on industry, you can feel very caged and like there's no opportunity for growth in Bermuda, right? Like I remember when I was leaving Inter Island Communications, and my mom was like, "Oh, what?" And I said, "Well, this is the ceiling. That Inter Island IIC was the ceiling of the industry for me in Bermuda, and there was nowhere else to go beyond that. Other industries, you can still rise, right? You can become, senior underwriters, a VP, and deputy CEO, and so on. But it depends on industry. I think in this space, I mean, I would have never been able to work for Disney if I had never left Bermuda, right? So I get you in saying that the opportunities in this space are just greater outside of Bermuda in North America in particular, which I'm used to.
Yeah, I'll give a quick example. The fact that I'm just through a friend who met a friend, I'm going to be interviewing someone recently. I'll bring the story here on the show, but she actually produced the music for the FIFA 2026 World Cup here for Toronto, the theme of Toronto, like the sound of Toronto for FIFA. So that's really awesome, and I'm going to be talking to her soon. So I had
Nice.
to get approval by FIFA and everything just to have the interview. So that was really awesome. So I'm going to be
Nice.
doing that
See, there
soon.
you go. I mean, I'm just saying, you probably wouldn't have got a Gold Cup opportunity in Bermuda. But no, it's so much to it, and I think people leave for different reasons. I don't think it's a one size fits all. Incentives for me, make it free. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not one size fits all, one answer goes to all. But anyway, you've got some news to do. Oh, by the way, before you get into the news,
Okay.
I have a joke today.
We were doing so well.
You haven't had a joke in a while.
I know, and I thought you were actually trying to respect that, but all right, go ahead.
Oh, my apologies. Well, I'll give you. It'll make you laugh. I think it's funny today.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Tell the joke, Jamal.
No, I'll tell you after the news. Go ahead. Good.
Good morning, everyone. This is your daily hour news break brought to you by the good people at People's Pharmacy. Once again, you know those graduates are now across the stage, but if you still want to give them a little something to congratulate them, it's still not too late. Head to People's Pharmacy, get something for them to remind them of the beautiful day. All right, so your first story this morning, exclusive that I'm bringing to you here on the daily hour first. Now, you all heard about the People's Independent Coalition, but we're also a little we're excited as to what they are, what they're trying to provide, and what does it mean for the scope of maybe the political landscape in Bermuda. So I sat down with two founding members, and here is your story. They are not a political party, and according to founding members, never claimed to be. But since the People's Independent Coalition, or PIC, went public, others have questioned what they are and what they are not.
And what we want to do is be able to create a space where people who are interested in getting involved in public affairs can do so without having the, pressure of partisan politics.
Formed after Bermuda's 2025 general election, the People's Independent Coalition was built not only in response to calls from the public, but because there was a need for a space to continue doing the work. To put it lightly, Cyree Bean says PIC is a resource. It's no secret that many of its early members ran as independents during the last election, but PIC insists this isn't about building a new party. It's about educating Bermudians on politics and bridging the gap between the voter and the elected. When asked who was the catalyst for this movement, they say it was the people.
When I was canvassing, everyone was saying, hey, something needs to be done no matter what takes place at the election. If you're successful, if you're unsuccessful, please, can you guys try to make something where we can all see what's going on in the future to benefit us. So then it was just a matter of reaching out, understanding that, hey, I did make this obligation to serve. This is what the people requested. Now, the name and all that type of stuff, that's that. But the actual identity of the organization stems from the people wanting to be involved. So that's what we are providing.
PIC's launch didn't come without controversy. One news outlet published a list of supposed members, a list PIC says they never shared because they do not have one.
I believe there was a figure that came out saying probably around 12 individuals. It's probably more than that that's actually involved in the whole process as well.
Absolutely.
And then you have people who are coming on board who didn't run as independents. And then you have people who wanted to run as independents, just get involved and all of that. So it's a growing number of individuals.
There are some of us who said, we don't want to just disappear after the election. We took some time individually to reflect on the election and whether we consider it a success, a failure, whatever. And what a large number of us felt is we can't stop now.
So what really separates PIC from a political party, and who can join? Anyone. Their hope is for people who know little about politics to join, people who know a lot, people affiliated with a political party, members of parliament, and people who are curious. Their purpose is to hold a space where people do not feel pressure to have to join a party, but want to understand politics and its role in their lives here in Bermuda. They don't run candidates. They don't campaign for power.
When we think about our system since 1968, since the Constitution, since two-party politics, it's all about the power, getting the vote so that the party has government and has power. The People's Independent Coalition isn't about the power. It's about the people because we believe that that's where the power is. But until our people know that, until our people know how they can exercise that power, then we just kind of give it away.
The People's Independent Coalition says it was formed by the people for the people. Yes, they started by asking those who ran independently because they knew those individuals were willing to educate, make a change, and get involved. But they are a civic engagement organization, hoping to build a space of collaboration they believe has never been made before.
Elected officials from across different political parties, or if there was an independent candidate to be elected, should all go and work together in the House of Assembly. But there's a gap in what happens on election day. People vote, their representatives go to the House of Assembly, and then there's a gap between the involvement of the electorate after the election. And I think that PIC can be strategically positioned to fill that gap.
I'm encouraged, but still a bit confused. Still a bit confused, if I'm honest, but I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged.
Is there anything you're confused about that I can like when I tell you it was almost an hour sit down. So to squeeze that in a little story there, it's kind of hard to get every single piece. But yeah.
Yeah, I think the confusion. I don't think they eliminated people asking or feeling like they're a political party. I just don't feel like they eliminate that because it's. I get that they don't see themselves as a political party, but as long as they're united in vision, people are gonna, feel like, well, they're competing together. So more like a team, if that makes sense. I get them, but I just feel like, it's like sales. I don't know if they've convinced the people to stop asking that question or stop saying it.
Okay. And that's probably good feedback for them to have because then I'll put a longer version out on my YouTube so you could try to dig into it some more because I did dig into that question like, well, what actually makes you different? Like, explain it. Like, what are the technicalities as well that make you different? Now, I don't have a constitution. They can't run under the People's Independent Coalition. If some of them still want to run independently in the future, they can do that. Other members from political parties are welcome to join. Again, it's a civic engagement. So think of it as just another organization trying to help people understand and be educated about politics. But that's the crux and the base level of what they're trying to do.
Okay, cool.
Right. Moving on with other news pieces that you guys probably should be a little bit attentive to for those who do care about the CCTV cameras across the island. So there will be a town hall meeting actually set for this Thursday, July the 3rd, from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the St. Paul AME Church Hall in Hamilton. So the event will provide a full update on Bermuda's upgraded CCTV network. So now fully operational with 225 cameras across 130 locations, offering 460 camera views. And expansion is also underway to boost coverage to about 150 sites across the island. So Minister Weeks said the town hall is about transparency, accountability, and community involvement, encouraging everyone to show up and take part in the discussion, and of course, ask a lot of questions.
Nice. Yeah. Suzanne, I know Suzanne isn't a fan of CCTV. I hope you show up.
Yes. This Thursday, 6 p.m. at the St. Paul AME Centennial Church in Hamilton. All right. So weather today is looking like sunshine is going to dominate the skies today. Doesn't say any chance of a cloud or even a little trickle of rain. So you're looking at bright skies. Please put on that sunblock. If you're going out there, bring your umbrella if you have to. We got a high of 87. So it's going up. We're literally pushing 90 people. Sunblock, please. And make sure you're taking care of yourself out there in that heat.
All righty. Well, it's joke time. All right,
let's go.
Here we go. Maya, what do you use to cut the ocean?
What do I use to cut the ocean? Pretty sure it's going to be some sort of beach-related object, sea-related object.
You ready?
Go ahead.
What do you use to cut the ocean? You use a seesaw. Stop it. Somebody stop me. Boy.
You're so lucky you have that audio in the background.
Okay. You've got something better than the joke, though.
Okay.
We've got something better than the joke. Today, while it is Chicken Wing Day, International Chicken Wing Day, we have something even better. Today is International Reggae Day. So we want to ask everyone, what is your favorite reggae song or favorite reggae artist?
That is so hard. I'm thinking. I'm going to have to go for the cliche of Bob Marley because that's my mama played him all my life growing up. Like that's the only thing we played on Sundays, cleaning the house.
Okay. All right. Bob Marley. Any favorite Bob Marley song?
Buffalo Soldier.
Okay, Buffalo Soldier. All right. We've got Karen Simmons says Barris Hammond. What's your favorite Barris song? What else? I was going to say Barris or Bob. I would have to say Dennis Brown. Revolution. Dennis Brown, Revolution. Favorite reggae artist song right there. What else, audience? International Reggae Day. Who is your favorite favorite reggae artist and reggae song. Charles H. Jefferson II, he says Redemption Song, Brother Bob. Will the Real Deal says Steel Pulse, Wild Goose Chase. All right. We've got Everything Gonna Be All Right, Suzanne Ingham. We've got the Buju Banton says Ari Smith. We've got Bounty Killer, Cutty Runks, Beanie Man says Had a Leading Song. We've got Robert Nasta Marley, One Love from Marquita Lee. All right, you all got it. All right, so we've got Barris, we've got Bob, we've got Steel Pulse, we've got Bounty, Cutty Runks, Buju, Beanie. Max Romeo says Lydia Simmons, Bob Marley, Richard Scott, and Dennis Brown for me. Maya, have a wonderful day. We'll speak to you soon.
You too. Bye.
My Palacio folks, if you've appreciated the discussion so far and you are streaming online, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, Instagram, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Do not go anywhere. We've got a very important conversation coming up. You don't want to miss it. We're talking about the volatile markets. Stick with us.
Let's face it, life can be a little wild, but shopping doesn't have to be. I choose People's, so that whether it's a prescription that needs to be filled, a toy for my little terror, or a gift for a new addition to the family, we'll see about that. Everything's available in one convenient location. Some call it People's, I call it my one-stop shop in the city. People's, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high-quality functional products can be stylish and comfortable at the same time?
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
96 degrees, real hot, oh yes.
Summer season.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast, so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Get ready for the Emancipation Edition, an evening of powerful voices and vibrant culture. Presented by Sankofa Bermuda and Curb, this event brings short, impactful conversations on history, culture, and community. Join us Thursday, July 10th from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at BUEI. Tickets are just $35 and available now at ptix.bm. Come curious, leave inspired, and don't forget to bring cash for our amazing vendors. Let's educate, inspire, and challenge together.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. I am Jamal Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and as of this morning, HSBC Bermuda. We want to thank them for ensuring that we're able to pump through the radio airwaves on Hot 107.5 with these important community conversations. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Without further ado, let's bring in our very special guest for the day. We have, well, she's returning, one of our quarterly co-hosts, Melanie Gauntlett. Let's give her a warm TDH welcome. Hello. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
No problem. First off, before we even get into the conversation, got two questions for you. This will determine the tone of the convo. Number one, what colors do you wear in July?
Well, I'm wearing them right now.
I just see blue. Oh, the red. Oh my goodness. Oh no. Oh no. She's one of them. Okay.
You should see my office right now. I can't turn the camera around, otherwise you'd see a wall of red.
You know, audience, we're going to start counting how many Summit folks we have in the building. Well, this is very upsetting, but I still think highly of you. Okay, next question. Favorite reggae artists?
See, I knew you were going to ask that, and I had to have a good think about it. I grew up with a lot of UB40 in my house.
All right. She knows what's happening. Red wine?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that was just my dad's kind of relaxed Sunday music. UB40, barbecue going.
It's funny because I was listening to them yesterday. Crazy. They have some hits, folks. Trust me. Well, thanks again for coming. Thanks for Freisenbruch trusting us and having these conversations with us on a regular basis. And folks, you can see scrolling at the bottom, you'll see Mel's information, the entire conversation if you want to reach out. But we're speaking about market volatility today. Can you just in the most layman way, just explain what that means?
Sure. So volatility is essentially, at its bare bones, the amount that prices fluctuate and how quickly they do so. So when we're talking about a volatile market, it's how much is that market rising or falling in a short time span.
Okay. And audience, if you have any questions throughout this conversation, please send them. We have an expert in the house who can answer your questions, concerns. I know just not long ago during the pandemic, people had a lot of questions about their pensions and the like, and we'll get through as many things as possible today. But can you just explain what kinds of plans, retirement plans, pensions, people are likely to have at Freisenbruch and the benefits and risk that exist for them?
Yeah, so here we have defined contributions plans. So there's two types of plans and pensions kind of all over the world. You have a defined benefits plan, which is essentially you pay in for a certain amount of time during your career with the promise of X amount every month without fail until you pass. That is a defined benefits plan. And some companies do have that. We don't offer it. It's more of an old school pension plan. And then we have the defined contributions plan, which essentially means you are mandated to put 5% of your payroll. Your employer matches your 5% into this plan, and then you can't touch those funds till you're 65. And what you get out of it in retirement is entirely dependent on what you've put into it while you've been working.
Indeed. Got it. Makes sense. And as far as the pension plans go, how are people, well, how are they invested? Like how are pension plans invested? Do we say, you know what, we won't tell you what to do, or do you advise? And can we adjust them along the way? So when we see the volatile market, can we say, oh, I want to do something different now, a less aggressive plan?
Of course. So there's two options with us. You have what I like to call a pick your own adventure, which is where you as the member take a list of options that we have on our platform, and you choose how much of your funds you allocate to each option. Or you can do a model, which is managed by us. It's committee managed. We meet every quarter, And it goes from low risk or conservative all the way up to an aggressive portfolio. And we control what's in that. So you can be as involved or as detached as you like in the management of your pension.
Audience, I just want to ask the audience, because I'll be very honest with you. Over the years, I have not, and I've said this before, paid attention. But how many people who have pensions through their employers actually look at their accounts? Like, do you even monitor it? Like, I'd like to know, yes, just a simple yes or no. No judgment. I mean, I can't judge. I'm guilty of not doing it. But in asking that question, audience, now, should people pay attention to the short-term market volatility? Like, is it something that, and I don't want to go to political route. Of course, all the stuff that's going on politically in the world today, it's like every 2 seconds, the market's doing something. Like, should it make us want to change our strategy and contact you and change things or do we wait until the market stabilizes? Like, how should we go about that?
Okay, so pensions are a long-term play, right? The only real thing on your horizon is your retirement. With investments, you need 4 things to be successful across the board, whether it's in a pension or in a private investment account. You need a plan. You need a little bit of courage to wait out volatility. You need consistency, and then you need time. So when it comes to your pension, depending on where you are in your journey, employment-wise, like how far away you are to retirement, you can pretty much ignore most volatility if you're in the right risk model for you. Everyone's different. I think we've had that conversation here before. This is not a one-size-fits-all thing, and it's important to get advice. The market is a living, breathing thing. It's not driven by computers. It is driven by people and emotions. So it's always been said that it's driven by 2 things, fear and greed, right? So when people are fearful, when investors are fearful, whether it's the earnings reports didn't come back, the political landscape is changing, one company's gone bust, the housing market crisis, you've got the great financial crisis, the dot-com bubble, there's always something that's going to get somebody in a tizzy. And those people sell. And that's when the market drops. So that's fear. And then you have greed, where people see opportunity and they flood back into the market to buy things cheaper. So they're often kind of one after the other. That's why it's volatile. One day the price is down, one day it's up, then it's down again. It's driven by us. It's not a big, scary, abstract concept. Once you understand that, it makes it a lot easier to ignore volatility long term.
Indeed. Gotcha.
Hope that kind of makes sense. But when it comes to your pension, unless you're nearing retirement, like you're 5-10 years out, which is a typical market cycle, you can ride out volatility as long as you're confident and you have that courage. The other important thing to note is if you change your strategy, you're too late. So volatility, it's already there. If you're changing because the markets are volatile, you've already missed it, and you're going to be selling when it's dropping or selling at the bottom, and you're going to realize any losses that you may have incurred during that volatility. Whereas if you just had a little bit of patience and just waited for it and had a little bit of faith in your plan, you would have been fine. You see stories all the time where somebody says, "Oh, I lost it all in the stock market." Yeah, well, because you panicked.
Yeah, and can you go a bit deeper? Because again, you've said this numerous times on this show, the different, like not all one size fits all. Like, so a person that's 40 versus a person that's 55, it's very different. But just, I guess, elaborate a bit more on how it affects people, market volatility, someone who's nearing retirement. They're like 62 versus someone who's maybe a decade away. But they feel like, look, my retirement's soon. So someone at 45 versus someone at 62, like what? How should it impact? How can you ease their fears?
Yeah. Okay. So that's a good question. When you're approaching retirement, you're approaching the time when you're going to touch your funds, right? So if things are going a little bit crazy and you're anxious, you can absolutely step back your risk tolerance. Nothing is safe. Let's just put that out there. There is no guaranteed, you're not going to lose a dime. There are risks associated with changing your strategy. Hopefully you got the timing right. That's where we come in. There's the risk that your strategy won't grow enough to sustain you long term. There's the risk that you didn't save enough as well. But as you approach retirement, you kind of have to factor in all those risks and look at it and say, okay, well, how much am I willing to tolerate? Okay, like someone like me, I'm aggressive in my investments across the board. I probably always will be because I'm not fearful. Fear is not a bad thing. Let's just put that out there. But I know how things work, and I'm willing to tolerate fluctuations in my portfolio because I have faith in my plan. Let's just say it that way. Whereas someone who is maybe anxious that they haven't saved enough and they're approaching retirement and the markets are going crazy, yeah, we can look at stepping you back to a more conservative portfolio. You have to be able to sleep at night, right?
Yeah.
But someone who's in their 40s, the average bear market, I think off the top of my head, is like under 2 years. You're not touching that money for another 10, 15.
Yeah.
Whereas someone who's 62 looking to retire at 65, they may not have that kind of time for their portfolio to recover after volatility. So we should step them back, hopefully before they incur any losses. It's a really delicate balance. But when you are approaching retirement, that kind of 60, I would even say 55 to 65, you should be monitoring your portfolio on a regular basis so that you can step back your risk tolerance at an appropriate time so that we're not worried about making up for lost time or making up for any volatility in the short term.
I hope people, if nothing else, I hope they heard that part right there. Like that, you kind of just told them what to do. Like, hey, once you're getting close to that, you want to reduce the risk, right? We did ask anyone in the audience check their pensions. Nicole Walker said yes. Suzanne Ingham said no, I don't. I did for a while. All I want is what is mine and not a penny less. Speak to that a bit. You know, there are people who, you know, they contribute to these pensions, and when they retire, they just want to make sure that they get everything they contributed. I mean, what are the chances that they wouldn't? I mean, for the most part, people always get much more than they've contributed.
Well, that's the hope, right? Now, the wonderful thing about pensions is they're designed for long-term, stable, strategic growth. They are not as risky as a go-it-your-own in an investment portfolio. They're not designed for that. A defined benefits plan, they're invested in extremely safe holdings. Your money's pooled. They can offer that you get X amount until you go, right? When it comes to defined contributions plan, they are a bit more delicate, right? You have to assume a lot of risk when you're young in order to make those gains. But statistically, 10 years from when you start an investment, if you've done the right thing and done your research and gotten some advice, you should be ahead 10 years later, regardless of what you put in. That is the goal, right? The goal is for things to grow. Now, volatility comes into play, because if you're retiring and all of a sudden the market's going up, that's a great time to retire, right? You want to cash out at the top. But I can't guarantee that that's going to be the case every year after you turn 65. Whereas the defined benefits plan, they kind of almost guarantee that. They say, well, this is the amount you're going to get. Us, it's market dependent. It's dependent on what you put in. But I completely understand the desire to get exactly what you put in and no less. But without risk, there's no reward.
Indeed.
Right? You can't expect it to grow like a seed planted in soil, right? The soil needs water, needs sunlight. It needs those things for the seed to come through. It's the same thing with your investments. You need to be consistently contributing over time. You need to give it time to grow. You need to water it. You need to pay attention to it. And if you've done your job, that pot of money will flourish. and it will grow into retirement and beyond, hopefully.
Indeed.
Yeah, I wish I could guarantee that there weren't going to be any ebbs and flows, but I'm not a psychic, unfortunately.
Right. Audience, if you have any questions or comments, please send them through. We'll get through as many as possible. This was a key one during the pandemic because there was a lot of discussion in the community after a decision was made to let people dip into their pensions in Bermuda. But is it ever a good idea to pause or reduce pension contributions during tough financial times? Like, what should people do at that point?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really hard one because we're compassionate people, right? I don't want to tell you absolutely not, you should keep contributing. Bermuda's expensive. You were just talking about the cost of living and the cost of housing. Most of everyone's salaries go towards healthcare, housing, and food. I don't want to be a Grinch and sit here and say, no, you absolutely have to do it. Emergencies happen. I like to encourage my members to, when you are working, put things aside for a rainy day. You have voluntary pension contributions for a reason, right? You can use that portion of your pension whenever you like. It still stays in the market. If you don't touch it, great. It's there when you turn 65. But if you have an emergency, you can take from that versus disturbing your long-term strategy. During COVID, they let you take out from your locked portion. And I know people who took out and didn't need to. They were still working. I know people who really did need to, and it was the only way they were able to make it through. We're all in the same storm, but we're not necessarily in the same boat. And I am cognizant of that. When you're undergoing hard times, it's at your discretion. Try not to not contribute, but if you have to reduce contributions, mind you, through your employer, you can't. Okay, so let's just state that outright. You cannot pause contributions if you are still working and eligible to be in a pension plan. However, if you were doing voluntary contributions, you can pause those. Pause them. If you need a little extra money in your paycheck for the next 6 months, year, 2 years, do that. I'm not gonna be that person who makes you eat spaghetti for a month. But stopping altogether or touching it when you don't need to, it's a short-term solution for what will be a long-term problem in the end.
Thank you for that. We've got a question from the audience. Rosalind Famous, she's asking, what was your journey to making your first investment?
Oh, yeah. So I've had a very varied career. And I wish that someone had told me about investments when I was in my 20s. I would probably be retired by now. But unfortunately, nobody gave me the information. So I started off my career working in an investment firm as kind of just an admin. I was doing it in between semesters at university. I didn't even study finance when I was at university. I came home and realistically it was IT or finance. That's what you had to go into. So I had to do a whole bunch of extra studying to get all the qualifications that I needed later on in life. But I wasn't an investor. I couldn't afford it, to be frank. It was a really hard change, I guess. So I went to hospitality and then I went back into banking. My investment journey has not been as smooth as I may present here, but I'm honest about that. I started investing in my early 30s. I'm not perfect at it. I do what I can. I can't sit here and say, oh, I put X amount in my portfolio. Sometimes I have to pause contributions. Bermuda's expensive. But once I had taken the classes that I took, done the courses, got the certifications, investment was not so scary. My family, we didn't talk about religion or money at the dinner table. So I didn't understand how it works. And now that I understand, I wish I had this information in my 20s, which is why I'm so passionate about going out and giving young people, middle-aged people, older people, this message. Because in Bermuda, investments were a scary thing. Nobody really knew how they worked. Saving CD accounts, that's what we're good at. My journey into investments has not been an easy one or a smooth one, and I wouldn't be who I am if it had been.
I appreciate you sharing that. Honestly, it builds trust with people. Just remind people how they can go about. Obviously, your information's below, but getting in touch with and getting to understand the offerings that Freisenbruch has.
Yeah, so my information's on the screen. I like to say my office is open at any time. There are no dumb questions. The only dumb question is the one that you don't ask, right? So if you're curious or you just need a little guidance about pensions, how to monitor it, whether you're in the right risk tolerance, private pensions outside of corporate pensions, I know a great deal, as does my team. So we'd be happy to hear from you. You give me a call, shoot me an email.
Yeah. This was helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you. I think there were a lot of gems that she dropped so nonchalantly today regarding pensions. I mean, I think again, sometimes we only care about things when we need them, right, or when it impacts us. And I think these conversations ongoing are so helpful because we don't know what we don't know. We don't, and so I'm grateful that you come and you educate and share the information that you've learned with another group of people. So thank you so much, Mel, and look forward to the next one.
I do too. Thank you for having me again.
All right, Mel Gauntlett, folks, if you appreciated the conversation, please give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure you share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. You can see the information down below. You can reach her at mgauntlet@fmgroup.bm or give them a call at 294-4660. All right, we're going to take our final break. We'll be back after this. Got a daily play for you. I want to see how many of you can guess the answer to this question. Stick with us. Don't go anywhere.
Considering the increasing challenges faced by financial institutions, the need for insurance protection is a critical component of the risk management framework. At Freisenbruch, our priority is to safeguard your assets with the most optimal, cost-effective risk management cover to help protect your business, whether it be cyber, directors and officer liability, professional indemnity, or property insurance. Call us on 296-3600 to learn more about our full suite of competitive corporate insurance products. At Freisenbruch, we provide insurance you can count on.
Step aboard the Mary Prince Legacy Bus Tour and journey through Bermuda's powerful past. Discover the life of Mary Prince, enslaved, resilient, and remembered. Visit historic sites like School Lands Cottage, Norrell's Vale, and Mary Prince Emancipation Park. Hear the stories of her family, her struggle, and her legacy. Tours run July 13th and 20th from 2 to 4 p.m. departing from Hamilton Ferry Terminal. Book now at ptix.bm or email hello@titanexbda.com. Honor the past. Ride with purpose.
At Umami, we don't just sell spices, we spark something bigger. We believe food isn't just fuel, it's connection, it's tradition, it's joy. Our dream? To help you eat better, love louder, and maybe even start a little food revolution. One home-cooked, flavor-packed meal at a time. Because cooking isn't just a chore, it's an act of love. Umami Spice. Gather, cook, connect.
Looking for the best care for your pets? Novazoc Feed and Supply has everything you need, from top quality foods to toys and supplies. We've got it all. Join our frequent buyer program and earn rewards every time you shop. Plus, we've been awarded the Clever Customer Initiative program for helping you save more. And don't forget, we open an hour early on Saturdays so you can get a head start on your pet care. Visit us today or shop online for easy pickup or delivery. Your pets will thank you.
All righty, welcome back to the Big Show. Thanks again to Mel Gauntlett and Freisenbruch for ensuring we can have that segment on a regular basis. Appreciate it. Again, folks, whatever platform you're on, please give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Make sure everyone you know has access to these important community conversations. All right. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and our latest new title sponsor of our syndication, HSBC Bermuda. It is time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right, audience, it's a Remember When today, and it's following our conversation with Melanie Gauntlett. Here is the question. The Pension Commission is an independent public regulatory authority that was established in Bermuda in what year? Oh, you all don't even want to guess it. No one. All right. Okay. The Pension Commission is an independent public regulatory authority that was established in Bermuda on the 17th of May, 1999. Yeah, 1999. Close, Kent Tacklin. Papa Cheesy, a bit off, 2015, 1990. Not close enough, Headleen. Suzanne Ingham, well, you know the answer now. You know the answer now. All right, let's wrap it up, folks. We've got to run. But regarding the discussion this morning, I'd like to say that I think we need to reshape our minds when it comes to PRC holders. PRC is not a one-size-fits-all. They're not all, equal. You have people who have been in Bermuda for an extremely long time and made their lives. They've created their families or, grown their families in Bermuda. I think we need to reshape how we, look and view PRC holders. As far as incentives to get Bermudians to return, everyone leaves for different reasons. Everyone would return for different reasons. While it's economic to many, based on some studies, it could be personal to others. Some people, it could be career. There are certain people in careers beyond Bermuda that they just won't have the same opportunities in Bermuda. So I think it's really about addressing the majority first, and then figuring out how can we, obviously get Bermuda's best and brightest back onto the island to contribute to the country that most of them love. As far as the discussion with Mel Gauntlett, I think pensions are something we need to pay close attention to. Too many people are aging of the workforce and still having to work or find some sort of income. These conversations are supposed to help us that when we reach that age, we'll be able to live comfortably and enjoy our years how we choose. So I hope that you all are reaching out to Freisenbruch to see how they can help you achieve the greatness that all of you want to experience. All right, I have to give you a daily inspiration, don't I? So let's just go in the book and see what we can pull out the book for you. All right, Duke Ellington, he's a jazz pianist. Let's see what he says. The ultimate, quote, the ultimate in art is self-expression, not escape, end quote. Express yourself. Don't try to escape yourself, folks. Duke Ellington. All right, folks, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC group of companies, Medical House Lindos, and People's Pharmacy, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamal Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.